Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to map out the massive, kind of complex ecosystem of financial services. We're going to find out who the main players are, exactly what they do, and most importantly, how they all connect. So, to really wrap our heads around the sheer scale we're talking about, just look at this number. In 2023, the total value of shares on all the world's stock exchanges went past $109 trillion. I mean, that's a figure so huge, it's almost impossible to even picture. Right, because that $109 trillion doesn't just manage itself. So who are the institutions behind these mind-boggling numbers? How does this global river of cash actually flow? And what does it all mean for your money? Okay, let's dive in. Here's how we're going to tackle this. We're going to tour the financial landscape by breaking it down into these 5 key areas. By the end, you'll have a really clear map of how all these different players fit together. Okay, first things first. To really get a handle on this whole world, you've got to understand that the financial sector is basically split into 2 totally separate parallel worlds. Think of it like a city with 2 very different districts. Now, in one district, you've got the wholesale market. This is the big leagues. This is where giant corporations, governments, and other big financial players raise enormous amounts of money, manage huge risks, and go after major investment opportunities. And then in the other district, you've got the retail market. This is the world you and I live in every single day. It covers literally everything, from your bank account and your car loan to your insurance and, of course, your retirement savings. You know, a really simple way to think about this is just B2B versus B2C. The wholesale market, that's business to business. And the retail market, that's all about business to consumer. It's a super helpful way to frame things as we meet all the different players. All right, let's start with the one we're all familiar with, the one we see all the time, your local everyday bank. So, we're talking about the bank on your main street, or maybe just the app you use on your phone. Their main job is pretty simple, right? They take in deposits from people who are saving, and they make loans to people and small businesses who need to borrow. But what's really fascinating is how much their job has grown. It's not just about simple checking and savings accounts anymore. Now they handle everything from loans and credit cards to asset management, pensions, insurance, even broking services. The lines have totally blurred. They really want to be the one-stop shop for your entire financial life. Okay, let's switch gears. We're going to step into that wholesale world now and look at a completely different kind of bank, one that plays on a much, much bigger corporate stage. Meet the investment bank. Now, unlike your regular bank, these guys don't take deposits from you and me. Nope. They're more like financial architects, and they specialize in really complex, high-stakes deals for huge organizations. These are the deal makers working behind the scenes of the economy. So when you hear about a company going public on the stock market, or 2 massive corporations merging, or a government needing to raise billions of dollars, yep, that's an investment bank pulling the strings to make it happen. So we've seen how money gets moved around, but who is actually investing all that capital? You know, the money that's being saved up for all of our futures. Well, a huge piece of that puzzle is pension funds. These are the institutions that collect all those retirement contributions from millions and millions of employees. And because their goal is to provide an income for you decades from now, they are some of the largest and most important long-term investors out there. But here's the thing. Pension funds don't usually do it all by themselves. They hire professionals to do the heavy lifting, fund managers. A fund manager's job is basically to take that big pool of money and actively manage it to hit a specific target, like growth or income. And their process is pretty straightforward, really. It's basically 3 steps. First, they gather up all the capital from their clients. Second, they use that money to build and manage a portfolio of different things, like stocks and bonds. And third, everything they do is driven by one thing: hitting their clients' financial goals. Okay, with trillions of dollars being bought and sold and managed every single day, there's one last player who has an absolutely critical job, keeping it all safe and accounted for. And these are the custodians. You can think of them as the high-security vault, the Fort Knox of the financial system. They're specialized banks whose whole job is to look after assets like shares and bonds for big investors like those fund managers and pension funds. But their role is so much more than just keeping things safe. They handle all the massive back-office work, settling trades, collecting dividend payments, managing cash, and this isn't just boring admin work, this is the hidden plumbing of the financial world.
By tracking every single asset, they act as a powerful guard against mistakes and fraud, making sure the entire system is trustworthy.
So you can start to see how it all clicks together, right? Your pension contribution leaves your retail bank, goes to a pension fund, which then hires a fund manager. That manager buys stock in a company through an investment bank, and the whole transaction is settled and kept safe by a custodian. It's this deeply interconnected web, and every player has a crucial part.
And that right there is the key takeaway. This isn't just some abstract map. This is the system that you are a part of. Understanding who these players are and what they do is really the first step to navigating the financial world with more confidence and making it work for you. Thanks so much for joining this explainer.